Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started now. So welcome to the webinar. Thank you very much. My name is Craig Haas, and you're going to be participating in one of Cute's Talent Talks. This is about flirting with top talent, innovative ways to attract, engage, and select talent using realistic-based scenario tools. So for those of you who can't hear me right now, this slide's for you. Those of you who can, well, I know you can hear me, but obviously they're not going to be able to. So hopefully they're paying attention to the screen and they can adjust the settings as needed based on this slide. We're going to kick up and get started here just now and just get going on things. Thank you very much for attending today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our agenda. Here I'm going to give you an overview of who Cute Assessments is, Cute, and we'll talk about quality of applicants and quality of hires, and then we'll start talking about some specific solutions or tools. One of them is called Realistic Job Preview Questionnaires, and we'll give you some examples and case studies. And we'll also talk about situational judgment questionnaires, or you may know them as situational judgment tests, and we'll provide some examples and case studies from that as well. First, just who is Cute? We are one of the global leaders in online assessments. We have 28 offices worldwide. We offer online assessment tools and consulting services, and our tools are translated in approximately 40 languages. In other words, they're available in 40 different languages. Great for when you're trying to roll out assessments in a globally scalable way, because we have the global norms in many different jobs in for many different countries, and also standardized globals and translations. We've done many different integrations, and we work with clients all across the world, and we'd be happy to talk to you about that if you guys have some sort of a global assessment rollout project you're trying to do. Why Cute? What's the name mean? Why the hyphen, etc.? We get this question all the time, so I might as well just tell you up front. It represents our core values, our business values. Cute's core, what we offer to the clients is tools that are short or small, that are attractive, and are clever. And when something is small, smart, and attractive, it's cute by definition. So why the hyphen, Craig? Well, I'm glad you asked. We are strongly interested in innovation, in pushing things forward, and being cutting edge. And so when you have Cute and you have cutting edge, we came up with the name spelled C-U-T-E, but we do pronounce ourselves as Cute. So to get things started, we're actually going to do a poll. We're going to use polls to kind of keep people engaged and interactive in the assessment or in the interview process here. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with the first one just to give you a little bit of warm-up and to get a sense of what the audience is like in terms of what the challenges you're experiencing are, and so you can get a good sense of who else is on the session here. Wrong button, sorry. Let's do that. There you go. So you should be seeing the poll on your screen right now, and it'll give you guys a minute or two to vote. Okay, very good. The votes are coming in. I'm going to give another couple seconds. Excellent. A lot of people have joined the webinar in the last minute or so. This is fantastic. Please go on in and vote. Very good. 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, last chance, 2. Okay, very good. I'm going to close the poll here, and we'll get to see the results here. So you notice that 67% of the people who voted here have said that the quality of applicants is the biggest challenge they're encountering. 24% have said quality of hires, and then 19% the churn of recent hires, or turnover of staff, has been a challenge, and 5% said other. You notice that the quality of applicants is related to quality of hires, and both of those are related to likelihood of churn or employee turnover. We're going to be addressing these topics specifically further in this webinar as we proceed. So let's talk about staffing in a high-volume hiring context. So let's say I am the head of the talent acquisition, and we're planning a large-scale hiring process for a job that we just know we're going to have to hire thousands of people for, or maybe 1,000+ hires. And so how does that work? Well, first we're going to obviously have a strategy about how we're going to attract the talent and what our selection process is going to be. And of course, when you're trying to attract this many people, we're going to have to leverage online technologies to kind of do that. So we'll post a job on our career site, we'll put it out to various job boards, do some proactive promotion of the company, etc. So let's get started here. So we put out on the website, we started attracting some applicants here. Very good. And we start with a selection process, decision-making funnel.
I have a feeling some bad stuff is about to go down.
Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic about how this is going to turn out. So we've got a couple of good applicants that we're going to offer, give out job offers to. Let's see if how they turn out. They've met the criteria. They've met the experience requirements. We generally like them. We think it'll be good for us. Oh, geez. You know, these folks are not turning out the way. So, oh, gee, okay, the folks that we're getting are not really turning out the way we expected. You know, they meet the criteria, but they're just not, well, they're just not that engaged. Honestly, they're not as motivated as we had thought. That's not who we were really hoping for. Maybe we'll get better success as we keep going here. Oh, my goodness, this is not what we expected at all. Lots of clones of the other folks we'd already had is who we're getting in. I mean, they're not terrible. They're just not excellent performers. We had a good selection process. What happened here? We were really hoping to hire the folks on the right-hand side, the star employees, the real people who were engaged and motivated and wanted to do the job, who met the qualifications, not people who met the minimum criteria, who just, frankly, aren't really doing it for us. Well, what do we do about this? Well, have you guys encountered this sort of situation before? You've got a good process in place. You think you've got good interviews, people that you're making offers to seem to be the right types of people, but they're just not turning out quite the way you expected. Organizations mostly have these types of challenges, talent attraction, talent selection, and really what it comes down to is the quality of the applicants, which is related to talent attraction, who you're bringing in, and then the quality of the hires. And the quality of hires is very much determined by your employee selection process, the decisions you're making along the way in terms of who gets progressed through the process to the final interviews and who gets offers. When you're talking about talent attraction, which is where we're going to start first, it all starts at the very center, at the top of this page, the career website, because we have very different ways of bringing people to our company's career website so that they can apply to jobs, learn about our company, etc. On the left-hand side here, you see things like our consumer brand or our employer brand do tend to draw people to our site. They just come because they know us, because we're good places to work. They've heard that that's a good opportunity. We also put out job posting on various job boards that attract specifically active candidates who are looking for new jobs, and they're going to be looking for opportunities that fit their experience, and the job boards, they may find a posting that fits their needs, and that directs them to our career site and then, of course, into our funnel, our applicant tracking system. On the right-hand side, you see there's other ways that may draw people who are just surfing the web. They're not actively hiring and looking for jobs, active candidates. They're just passively kind of surfing around, probably on their mobile phone or their iPad or tablet. And, you know, they may find the website through a search engine, or they may hear about it through social media or word of mouth, that there's something neat on the site that people should check out. And then they get to the career website, and hopefully that doorway doesn't block anyone out. It allows the people who we want to come in to come through, and we can encourage the right types of people to apply for the jobs that we have available, and then go through the applicant tracking system and the selection process. But let's be honest. How many of your career websites out there are acting as a doorway that, you know, attracts people in? Imagine we're in a shopping mall and you own a retail store, and that your staff are the staff that are standing out in the hallway at the edge of the retail store shop, you know, trying to encourage people to come into the store and check it out? Or is it just that, you know, your employees are the ones behind the counter and they're checking their email, looking at their mobile phone, surfing Facebook, waiting for someone to walk into the store? What's your career website really doing? Is it drawing people in, or is it just there and those who are interested come? We got another poll here. We'll talk a little bit more about this one, and I think this will help you. So we're going to give it a couple seconds for you guys to respond to the poll here. Okay, early results are coming in. You're going to give it another couple seconds here. 10, 9, 8. Last chances to answer or response here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Last chance. Okay, we're going to close the poll now. And let's share these results. So what you guys have told us is that 52% of you have said that people who are coming to your career site are really coming because they were directed by a job posting. They were looking for a job, meaning actively looking for jobs, which is why they were probably looking at job postings in the first place. And then they're coming to your career site and then entering through into your talent pool through the applicant tracking system when they apply, etc. You said 41% of you said that they are drawn to your brand, so they just come to the site and then look for jobs that would be good to apply for because they think they might fit because they just want to work for your company. That's great. Now, I have a question for you. And the question is this. Out of these options that were presented here, which of these career pages do you think the passive candidates who aren't actively looking for a job are likely to visit? I'm willing to bet it's the ones that find it fun and engaging, and possibly they got referred to the site by someone else, or if they go, they're likely to refer it to others. Let's face it, most career websites are just boring. They're not that effective. Why do I say that? Well, because they're boring because passive candidates who aren't looking for a job are not going to find this job very interesting and engaging if they're surfing on their tablet or their phone. Why would they stick around and look at jobs or check out your company for very much when the career site really isn't that fun and engaging? And it's not really sticky. I mean, you know, websites have to be sticky. People have to want to stay. Otherwise, they go, they stay for a couple seconds, they realize there's nothing that exciting here, and they leave. And why are they ineffective? The career site isn't. The career sites are ineffective because of the fact that they're not providing information that the candidate needs to get a good understanding about the company's culture, the values, behaviors necessary, the norms of the organization, about the job. And so they don't really know necessarily a lot about the job beyond what's on the job description. So they're not able to select themselves out and kind of decide, should I be applying for this job really? Am I going to be a good fit here before they really get into your applicant tracking system and get into the selection process, your funnel. And so you've got a lot of people who are clogging the funnel who, frankly, if they understood the job and the company better, may not have applied in the first place and may not really belong in the organization. They may not really feel like they fit in if they were to get hired. So how do we attract the candidates who are going to be who are passive, or the candidates who are just preferred? I mean, what do we do here? Well, you know, it's an age-old methodology, and you're going to chuckle probably when you hear it, but the bottom line is the best way to get people in is to flirt. I know. We're not allowed to talk about that sort of stuff in human resources. But look, the reality is we want to flirt with top talent, the people who are anonymous, who are visiting our website, our career page, that we don't know, that haven't applied, but really might be a good fit for the job and may be interested in the job if they just understood it a little bit better. So how do we get people, one, to come to the career page if not already actively looking, and two, to be engaged enough when they get to our site that they actually want to learn about the jobs and actually want to interact with us in an online cyber sort of way? Well, my operational definition of flirting may not be what most people think, and there are some definitions out there that I wouldn't want to put in print, but the one that I like best is to show a superficial or casual interest in someone or something. And when you think about it that way, you can have your career site indicating through a interaction with others that you might be a good fit here. We think you might be interested in it based on on how you're giving us information about this job. And that's actually what we're doing. We have a solution that we think is very neat. It's a game online that sits on top of the career page. Basically, your career page has a link where people can try out and learn more about your company, either your company values or a particular job where you're hiring lots of people. And here's an example from Sunglass Hut. And the way it works is it's a series of short questions. It's a scenario-based tool. The scenarios are real life, like the job, and then they get to respond to a multiple-choice questionnaire, and after each response, they get some feedback. And so, like I said, it's flirting. We engage. We offer them the opportunity to interact with us a little bit, and then we ask them some questions, They give us a response. We give them some feedback that's encouraging them to respond again, just like real-life flirting, where you see someone who you're interested in, you get close enough to them to engage them in a conversation, you get a little bit of information, and you encourage the communication to go as long as the information they're giving you is interesting and seems like a good fit. Likewise here, it's an automated version where it's a game on your website career page that you can draw people to, where they actually get a chance to play this little thing. It's only like 10 questions long, give or take. It gives them a real-life view of what the job or the culture is like, and they get feedback along the way and positive encouragement for playing. And they get to learn about your culture, about your values, about your behaviors, and about the job itself, perhaps. Do you have anything on your career website that does anything like this? Is it fun, engaging? Do you think anyone's sharing your career site and saying, there's a really cool thing on this career page, you got to check it out? So basically, what is it in technical terms? It's called a realistic job preview questionnaire. And a realistic job preview is something that is a short questionnaire aimed at your anonymous career website visitors. Remember, we don't know who they are yet. They're just on the page. And it gives them some scenarios, a day-in-the-life view of what working at your company's brand and values are like, what the social norms may be, and perhaps what a specific job is like. It helps with your employment branding. It educates visitors about your culture and your organization in a fun, engaging way, and it helps them get a good sense of whether they might be suitable to work in your organization and your roles. Do they think they might like that kind of thing? It encourages those who actually are well aligned. As they get to the end of the questionnaire, it actually gives feedback at overall results, and it may literally encourage them to apply now and show an apply now button if they're a good fit. And even if they're not a great fit, it gives them moderately positive feedback, so they walk away with a good experience, and it encourages them to take the questionnaire again. It highlights the pros and cons about working in your culture or in your organization and about the job specifically, so they have a realistic view of what the job is and have good expectations that are clear, so that if they do apply later on, when they're on the job, if they get hired, they know what it's about. One of the reasons people leave organizations shortly after getting hired is they realize that this job isn't anything like I thought it would be, and so I don't think I want to do this anymore. So what it does by helping them know up front what it's really like is it increases the likely tenure of those people you do hire, and it helps you sort. They sort of self-sort before they even apply to determine if they think they might like working in your culture and in this job. From the candidate perspective, they really like the experience of interacting with this, and they love the flirting element, the gamification of it. And they like the fact that it's sort of innovative and new and fun and engaging and modern. They like companies that are willing to go and do that sort of thing and engage the audience out there. And they think that it's really great that these things work on mobile devices and tablets. Let's face it, a lot more people these days are applying for jobs and looking for jobs on their mobile. And generally, people who are just surfing the net, who aren't looking for jobs, most of them these days are going more and more so towards tablet mobile computing. Here's a kind of a better understanding of the structure of how a realistic job preview questionnaire, an RJP questionnaire, looks. There's a launch page, and it needs to give the candidate some good information about your company, your culture, etc. It may even have some little videos built into it. And then you see on the right-hand side, there's a button where they can actually take a little quiz to learn more about your culture and the job. It shows off the brand of the company, it engages the candidates and entices them to participate. Then it gives them, in the questionnaire, scenarios. And remember, these are anonymous visitors. We don't know who they are. We don't have their results. We're not judging them on this. This is purely for their own fun, entertainment, etc. But it also helps them self-sort and learn about your company and the job. It gives a good indication of what the job might be like, what the role might be like. They get a good understanding of the values of the company. It gives them some nice feedback. There's feedback after each question. So they get to learn about the realities of the job. And it encourages them to think about how this situation, the feedback, applies to them and how that real-world environment might suit them. It kind of prompts them to think more about their relationship to the job and the values in the organization, and would they like it? And at the end, it gives them some feedback, which is great. This page says wow, but there's also another page that says nice job, and the wows are obviously the great fits. And is encouraging them to apply now, and the rest are just being encouraged to take the questionnaire again, to think more about our company and our culture, and if it would suit you well to apply for this job, etc. And so it's really engaging for the applicants, they're the visitors, and they have a positive experience about it. They share it with other people on social media, and it walks away having the effect of a positive employment brand, and it helps you improve the quality of applicants you get, and it will help you actually increase the number of applicants you get, but you're going to get better quality overall. Last poll for you guys. So this is a quick yes-no poll. We'll give you only a couple seconds here to respond. How many of you have a high-volume recruiting job where applicants are applying, but honestly, a lot of them are coming to your brand. They don't necessarily understand the job that well they're applying for. Okay, we're going to close the poll now so you can see the results. So as you can see, 54% of you said yes, we have a high volume recruiting job where this would be relevant, and 46% said no. Okay, we're going to go back to the slides here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about a case study. This company is called EasyJet. EasyJet is one of the largest airlines throughout Europe. For those of you who are in the States who may not have heard of EasyJet, EasyJet is sort of comparable to Southwest Airlines or something like that. They are a very good quality airline. They're more affordable, and they have a large reach in terms of the places they have flights in. They have airports and they're in over 135 airports across 30 different countries. They have 60 million passengers a year. They have over 8,000 employees, and they were looking to improve their process of hiring. They had a multiple stage process of making it more robust, but realistic job previews was one of the tools that they added in with the help of Qt. They were wanted to screen a large number of people in an unsupervised assessments manner so they could create a consistent, high-quality experience for the candidates, but also reduce costs and have an effective selection process that would give them the right good hires they really needed. Overall, they were trying to increase their employer brand throughout Europe, and they wanted to improve the quality of the people they were bringing in, but also reduce the assessment-to-hire ratio because they were spending a lot of time interviewing lots of candidates before they could select the right ones to hire. And of course, they want to improve metrics of job performance, etc. post-hire. So this is a screenshot of what it looked like a little bit. You see the banner along the bottom. It says "Try before you fly." That is actually the banner that actually advertises the realistic job preview. And it's what is it really? It's just a fun, interactive solution where visitors to the website can go, check it out, play with it, experience what the job is like, and learn about the company and get live feedback, get a better understanding of their own suitability for the role. It encourages them to think about how their own values align with the company's values and do they fit in the culture. It gives them a good understanding of of the job and how well they align. And it's very suitable for career website visitors to share on their own social media if they think it's fun and engaging, which of course draws more attention for you and helps with employer branding. It also is a good way of expressing your employer value proposition, and of course for the visitor it's very easy to complete. Now, one of the core goals here, of course, was efficiency. They were trying to create a better way of hiring people. They were getting a number of applicants, but they were having to put them through a huge selection process, and lots of time was spent on interviewing and other things to try to get the right hires in, and they were trying to find ways to do it better. What this led to was and why you would possibly want to consider implementing this is because it had created an enjoyable and engaging candidate experience for website visitors. In fact, they had 27,000 people per month are now participating in this Try Before You Fly realistic job preview, which is great because remember, before these people were coming to the career website and they weren't filling out applications. They were just coming and leaving, or maybe not coming because they weren't getting told about the site and the game that was on it. But the nice experience about it is they're getting as visitors to get realistic expectations about what the job is like. Remember, the job is for cabin crew. That means like flight attendant roles, okay? That is a very sexy, appealing kind of a job. People think that they get to spend their whole day jetting around from place to place and get to do vacationing all over Europe. And, you know, oh, by the way, they get free flights, and all they have to do is be nice to people on the airplane. And that's not really the job at all. In fact, the job is quite challenging for people. There's a lot. They have to keep the passengers safe. There's a lot of rules and regulations they have to abide by. Their schedule is constantly going to be altering. Who they work with each time they get on a plane is going to be a different crew. There's, of course, difficult customers they have to handle, safety regulations they have to deal with, and they often will have to fly to various places that they may not necessarily have control over, of course, because they're getting scheduled, and they may not even have time off when they get there. So they're going to be, if you had a job where most of your job was traveling all over the place, but you didn't get to see very much, that's not exactly what the reality is in comparison to what their expectation had been, that they get the vacation everywhere. And so a lot of people were applying for the career cabin crew roles because it just seemed like a cool job. And EasyJet's a great brand, but they really didn't understand what the job was all about. And so it allows visitors, when they go through the Real Estate Job Preview, to self-select out. And so now they had 7,000 people per month applying, which is actually an increase in the number of people that are applying. But the quality was also much better because now they knew what the job was about. And they had already determined before they applied whether they might fit for the job now that they understood what it was about and what the culture was like. And what it helps is with saving time and resources. In fact, they found when implementing this tool, along with some other things we'll tell you about in a moment, that is 39% improvement from interview to hire. And that means a lot less people have to be interviewed, which is great. Now, okay, you're going to say, yeah, Craig, but come on, what else were they doing? It wasn't just a realistic job preview, right? Well, that's a great question. And, you know, they did introduce online realistic job preview, the pre-application tool for anonymous visitors. They also used some online aptitude test. It was verbal reasoning measure. And they had a situational judgment questionnaire, which was created specifically and validated for the cabin crew job for EasyJet. And then those who went through those processes did go on to an on-site interview, in-depth interview process and go through an assessment center. But what they found was that they were able to get a lot less people who actually have to come to the in-depth interview and assessment center by going through these previous steps. And the realistic job preview really did have a big impact there in improving the quality of the hire, and they got really super candidates. And so here's the impact. Like, we're not going to go over all the numbers here, but just at a high level, over year, they added different tests. So in 2010, 2011, they started off with paper pencil testing. Then in 2011, 2012, they added ability tests in the situational judgment questionnaire. And in 2013, they added the realistic job preview, and they show a better and better conversion as they added more robust testing. In fact, the improved model with better conversion rate meant they could actually interview 586 less candidates at the on-site and still get the same number of people they needed to hire, which is great efficiency. They also had quite a cost savings, 135,000 euros, or roughly 170,000 US dollars, just on interview staff costs and logistics. Also, they were looking to improve their promotability of their cabin crew to cabin managers, and they found a 29% improvement there. Sorry, after the application, true employee selection. How do we go about employee quality hire, improving that quality hire? Well, I mentioned it before. Situational judgment questionnaires, or what you might know of as situational judgment tests, are a really great tool. It's like a more robust version of a realistic job preview, actually. They're really good for screening, so you want to put them early in the selection process for high-volume jobs. And the content is scenario-based, real situations, and they are given some alternatives of what to choose. And the nice thing about it is that these are validated, designed specifically for a job in a particular organization. So they're very high real life. In fact, they'll often these days include pictures or even video above and beyond just narrative. And they're valid. Not only just in general, situational judgment questionnaires have a good history of showing it being high validity in the published literature, and are also fair. They don't tend to cause discrimination as long as you avoid questions that get at intelligence specifically and instead focus on behaviors, values, competencies that are most relevant for the job. And the applicants just like them because, again, it's a lot like the realistic job preview questionnaire. It teaches them as they go through it about the job and the company and the values. And so it just feels very job related to them. And they get to select from a couple alternatives, and they have to rate which is the best ones. And then the scoring is designed based on how real subject matter experts in the jobs, the high performers in the roles and their supervisors, how they think high performers should respond to these real situations. So it's very real life. But it's hard to identify what the right answer would be by looking at the questions because there's no clear correct or incorrect answer. They're all sort of in the middle range. And it provides an overall fit score that can be used for sorting candidates. So here's an example. Rolls-Royce is one of our clients. And for university graduates, or campus recruiting as some of you may call it, and this is globally, we're working with them, and one of the tools we provide for them is a customized situational judgment questionnaire, one for engineers and one for the other roles. And so here's a real scenario for one of the engineering roles. You're reviewing a technical report for a colleague. You find one of the sections of the report is particularly hard to understand. What do you do next? Well, wait a minute, why does that happen? Because they're doing global selection, and part of the university graduate program is rotations, and so they get moved around from various countries. And so their English may not be their first language. In fact, it's quite likely to be the case. And so this is very likely to happen. It's a real situation that does pop up. So what do they do? How do they respond? They're given these 3 different choices. None of them really seem wrong, and none of them seem exactly right. And that's exactly why it's so valuable, because they have to make a judgment about what's the best situation or best way to respond in this situation. They've got 6 points they can distribute. They can assign 2 to each. They can assign all 6 to one statement. They can rank them however they choose. And the scoring is set up so that actually these answers, some of them are more correct than others. So to the extent that their understanding of what they think the right way to approach it is aligned with how the high performers actually do it in the job, the better fit they're going to be. And they get to see, these are real pictures of people from Rolls-Royce. They get to see what the job is like. They get to learn about the job, etc. So they like the experience of it. Here's another example from retail. It's Tuesday morning, and a colleague in the stationery section is away on sick leave. One of the rooms that you walk by on your way to get a tea or a coffee break seems untidy. What do you do? And here again, you're rating a couple of different responses as more preferred response or less preferred response. Why do situational judgment questionnaires? Well, they increase the efficiency because it helps you with sorting applicants at the early stages when you have high volume, using very relevant job-related solution that the candidates actually like, that's fair, that's valid, and it helps you predict future performance. The candidates will find it engaging, much like the realistic job preview, because it just feels real. And the scoring is really secure because it's really hard to know what the right answers are. In fact, by one organization versus another organization, the answers may be different based on what high performers do in company A versus company B. And so the scoring key really is proprietary to that particular job in that company. And they're fair. I mean, the situational judgment questionnaires or tests have been found to have negligible impact in terms of the minority groups you have to be protected against, etc., as long as you focus on behaviors, competencies, values, and steer away from intellectual capabilities on those tests, which is, of course, you have other tools that are designed for intelligence testing. You don't need these. You know, EasyJet wanted to hire really super fantastic employees who would really be able to take it to the next level, who like flying, who are super talented, and just, you know, they're sort of supermen, superwomen. So Ruth Spalding, the resource manager at EasyJet, has said about this that the situational judgment question that Q developed for us has helped us identify how we want our cabin crew to act and react in their role. And in fact, what they found is that not only did it help them select high performers in the cabin crew roles, but it also helped them identify in a much better way which ones are more likely to be promoted to cabin managers. In fact, they had a 29% increase in the ability of those who were cabin crew being able to get promoted later on to cabin managers, which means that you don't have to hire as many cabin managers, of course. They can just promote from within just by adding this situational judgment questionnaire. Who else has used situational judgment questionnaires from Qt? Well, here's a number of different companies you can see. They're across different industries, different types of jobs, different countries. The bottom line is, if you've got high volume jobs, this might be a good solution for you to consider. One other tool that we often use in combination with the situational judgment questionnaire is something called our standardized validated tool, one of the several, but one of our flagship, which is called the Shapes Personality Questionnaire. Now, what we do is we design the scoring and the resulting output based on your competency model and your behaviors and values that are required for success in your organization and in the role. So you're not just getting some personality trait like extroverted, but rather we're going to validate and map the results of the questionnaire, of the standardized questionnaire, specifically to the competencies, behaviors, and values of your organization, and be able to provide data that can be used along with the situational judgment questionnaire for sorting at the early stages, and then at the later stages, actually a customized interview guide tied back to your organizational competencies that helps you focus on the most job-related behaviors, competencies, values that are most pertinent for your organization, and then helps you focus on that during the interview process and gives you the Shapes results questionnaire, giving a report out all about competency potential around those competencies that you can then validate during the final interview stages and assess for risk of hire, etc., and really help you create a more robust interview process. When you combine this Shapes questionnaire with the situational judgment questionnaire, you get some really fantastic results. Here's an example from Harvey's Furniture, a retail company. Sales advisors is what we're looking at here. And what we found was when we combined the Shapes questionnaire and the situational judgment questionnaire, we had a very strong relationship and significant relationship with job performance for sales advisors. And in fact, there was a 14% increase in sales gain for new hires, which turned into, in terms of money, about €9,500, 9,500 euros, or $14,500 USD per employee. These are not highly paid salespeople. They're selling furniture after all. That's quite a good increase there. So just think about the power of combining these assessments. When you take a realistic job preview and a situational judgment questionnaire, and you add a personality questionnaire that can give you custom reporting around your competency model and your behaviors for your organization, it's quite a powerful combination that gives you good indications around who's going to be a good fit in this job. Well, how does it all fit into the overall assessment process? Well, if we start off on your career site with a realistic job preview for just anonymous visitors, they get to play. It attracts more people into your career site who may be possibly interested in working for your organization. So you'll get more traffic, and you'll have more people to choose from then. They self-sort when they go through the realistic job preview based on how well they align with your values to decide whether they should actually apply for a job. Then they complete the application. Of course, you have an applicant tracking system probably when you're doing high volume, and there's probably some knockout questions. Those who progress get to take the situational judgment questionnaire and the Shapes questionnaire. It only takes about 30 minutes total for them to do both, so we're not asking for a lot. Remember, one of our value props is that we offer short tools. And then you may have an assessment center that they move on to next, an on-location assessment center. For those of you who don't, I'm sure you're having an on-site interview process, which is going to be far more in-depth. And then, of course, you'll get to the stage of final decision-making. Well, why are we recommending all these tools anyway? I mean, what's the value here? Well, one, you want to have better quality applicants and better hires. The tools are innovative. Candidates enjoy them. They like them. They help you build your brand and your employee value proposition. They're just fun and engaging. They're validated against your organization's ideal behaviors, values, competencies, and it helps you improve general hiring efficiency and ROI. And for all those reasons, it's worth taking a look at some of these things and considering what would fit into your current selection process and your current a talent attraction process. I'm going to go look at some of the questions here and see if we can answer some of them for you now today. What I do want to say is, of course, that if you or one of your colleagues might like a copy of the slides from today's webinar, please email my colleague here at CUTE, Daniel Lawler, and the email address is here on the screen. We'll take one, two of your questions, perhaps, and see if anyone else that if we has questions. Of course, we'd be happy to contact you afterwards. Let's see here. Okay, so one of the questions that was asked is, how complicated is it to get something like a realistic job preview questionnaire set up and linked to a careers page, so that if the company wanted to start with that? And actually, it's very, very simple, because it's not. You don't have to do major revisions to your careers page to make this happen. You have a link on your careers page to it, but it is not all sitting on the careers page. It's its own microsite. We can build them quite rapidly. It takes just a few weeks of doing. Of course, we have to get real scenarios, et cetera, from your actual employees and get a good sense of what the company's values and behaviors are required for that job, et cetera. But it is not complicated at all, and it's actually a very affordable way to get started if you're trying to help improve your employer brand and improve the quality of your talent. I think that is the most pertinent question here today. Oh, here's another one that I think you may want to know about. What's the value of using the realistic job preview questionnaire and the situational judgment questionnaire together? Well, first off, the realistic job preview questionnaire on the site that sits in your career site is for anonymous visitors. You don't know who they are, and you're helping for talent attraction purposes and for employment branding purposes, and of course it does help improve the quality of the applicants who actually do apply. But the realistic job preview questionnaire is a far more robust version of that for the applicants who are already applying, to sort them out based on, in a more precise way, using a longer version. Both of the tools are actually validated, but that's a more robust version that helps predict who's going to be a high performer. And it also, again, educates them about the job and the role and the company values. And so both of those together are quite powerful, and the applicants or visitors who become applicants really like it because they're engaged in learning about your company. So I want to thank you all for your time today. I think any other questions that you all send in we'll respond to by email, offline here. Again, if any of you or any of your colleagues would like a copy of the slides from today's webinar, just please email Daniel Lawler at cute.com. We wanted to thank you very much for attending our webinar today, and we look forward to interacting with you in the future. Thank you.